God bless everybody. I just want to encourage people to be persistent, to have confidence, to do the things that they know that they can do it with excellency. I'm going to tell you a story of King David and Goliath. I'm going to start off reading from 1 Samuel chapter 17, and I'm going to start off with verse 33. And Saul said to David, "Thou art not able to go against the Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth." So Saul is already telling him, you don't have what it takes to defeat this giant. This giant is well experienced, he's well seasoned, he's a veteran, he's been to war many times, whereas you're just a young boy who does not know how to fight. So moving on to verse 34, and David said unto Saul, "Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of its mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he had defied the armies of the living God." So here David's telling King Saul, listen, I've killed the lion and I've killed the bear. As young as I am, I can handle this fool. Oh, this guy is nothing to me. I know I can handle him. So in verse 36, David said, "Moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he would deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine." And Saul said unto David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." And 38, and Saul armed David with his armor, and he put on an helmet of brass upon his head, and he also armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, "I cannot go with these, for I have not proved it." And David put them all off. So he was armed with the armor, the shield, the sword, and David said, "I can't work with these, as I'm not used to it." So he put it all away. He's going to take something that he's used to fighting with. So going on to verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand, and he chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in the shepherd's bag, which he had even in the scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. Verse 42, and when the Philistine looked about and he saw David, he disdained him, for he was a youth and ruddy and of fair conscience. And the Philistine said unto David, "I am a dog, that thou comest to me with staves." And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. So here, Goliath is making fun of him. Said, "You're a little boy. I will demolish you. You're a piece of cake. Don't even try to come next to me." So moving on, in verse 44. And the Philistine said to David, "Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field." Verse 45. Then David said to the Philistine, "Come thou to me with the sword, and with the spear, and with the shield, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day the Lord delivered thee into my hand, and I will smite you, and I take thy head from thee, and give the carcass of the host of the Philistines to this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. So here they're exchanging words. Goliath telling him, I'm gonna feed your body to the animals. And David's returning that fire and said, I in fact will kill you, and I will cut your head off, and I will feed your body to the earth. And they will know that there is a God in Israel. Verse 47, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag and took a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword and drew it from the sheath thereof, and slew him and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. So David did exactly as he said he was going to do. He defeated the Philistine, and he hit him so hard with the stone that the stone stuck in his forehead. And he went and he took Goliath's sword, which is not very light. Back in those days, I think it was like 100 pounds. For a young boy like David, as he was, you could tell that David was pretty strong. And he took the sword and he cut off his head. And the Philistine army saw that, and then they fled. So, be confident, be persistent, and never ever underestimate yourself. God bless you. I hope this little encouragement was a good word to you. I love you all, and I'll see you soon.